Hello, hello, and welcome back to the 5 Foot Strong podcast. I am your host, Jessica Gerlock, and I am so glad you are all here today. This season, we're really talking about resilience and personal growth, and we're talking to people that remind us that strength comes in many different forms. Sometimes strength is physical, sometimes it's mental, and sometimes it's simply showing up every day with compassion, purpose, and a desire to make a difference. Today's guest is someone who embodies that kind of strength. Dr. David Spiro is a professor of pediatric emergency medicine, a graduate of UCSF School of Medicine, and the host of the Humid podcast. As a physician, educator, and healthcare leader, he's committed to delivering compassionate care while looking beyond symptoms to address the underlying causes of illness. He's also passionate about mentoring the next generation of healthcare professionals and creating a more thoughtful, proactive, and human centered approach to medicine. In today's conversation, we're going to talk about resilience in healthcare, the importance of compassion, what it means to lead with empathy, and how we can all approach challenges a little different with a little maybe more humanity. Whether you're in healthcare pursuing your own purpose or simply looking for a conversation that inspires you to maybe think a little bit differently, I know you're going to take something meaningful away. So let's get into it and let's welcome Dr. David Spiro. So at the 5 Foot Strong podcast, we talk a lot about resilience. So what does being strong mean to you?
Well, I think it's a great question. And by the way, thank you for having me on your show. I love the
Appreciative.
premise of your show, and I'm honored to be here today
Thank
to
you.
talk a little bit about resilience. Uh, I think that resilience is an interesting word, right? You had mentioned in your intro around physical strength and emotional strength and spiritual strength. I think that resilience for me on a personal and professional level is the idea of how to stand up and spend the rest of your day when something doesn't go well.
Mhm.
And almost every time I work in the pediatric emergency department, something doesn't go well.
Of course.
Either I have a difficult interaction with someone, whether it's a learner, whether it is a patient or a family. And I think that the way that I think about resilience is how to challenge myself on a day-to-day basis to show up uh, to be my best self when I may not be my best self, or I had a really difficult interaction with a family and then I need to go to the next room and see another family and show up my best self. And so almost every day I feel like I'm challenged in that regard. And so it is very important for me to continue to think about how I can use resilience as a way to grow on both a personal and professional level. And it happens on me from myself on a personal level, whether it's relationships with my loved ones or whether it is relationships with friends. I think that resilience, to me, one of the aspects of resilience is to get yourself up and continually striving to be your best self when you may not be having the best day.
Well, you're in a career that's very pressure driven. So you really have to focus on, like, I know it's hard to say, like, put yourself as a priority, but how do you put yourself as a priority and your mental health as a priority in such a pressure driven situation?
I think it's a lot to do with self-care. It's only in the last 5 years I've learned a lot about true self-care.
Yeah.
I go to therapy once, twice a month, whether I need it or not.
Yeah.
And I think having a therapist to talk to who's always on my side in some ways is and objective and not in a primary relationship with me is really helpful. I also have learned a lot, Jessica, over the course of the last 5 years in the longevity space around sleep and diet.
Yeah.
And I've always exercised and have been relatively fit, but I've very much focused in the last 5 years on diet and especially sleep. Two things that I learned almost nothing about
Yeah.
in medical school, ironically.
So do you think that self-care really has improved you as a doctor and the way you have resilience for your patients?
100%. Well, the other thing is I'm 61 now,
Yeah,
so I don't have to work overnight shifts anymore. I've aged out in my group, so I work during normal-ish hours. I still work weekends, and I still work at times till 10 or 11 o'clock at night. But I'm in bed every night,
right.
and when I was working overnights, um, I would say that I had challenges with emotional and physical regulation of my emotional and physical state, more my emotional,
Hmm.
and uh, that the work of night shift workers is very hard. And in fact, there's really good literature to show that the uh, morbidity and mortality rate of overnight workers is reduced. In other words, you're more likely to die early
Well, the
if
lack
you're
of
an overnight
sleep.
worker. It really messes everything up in your body because there's a few hormones that it messes up. One of which is cortisol,
Yeah.
and which is a very important hormone that regulates your state of your state of being.
100%. I think people don't prioritize enough their self-care. They think self-care is going to get a massage, but really self-care is therapy. Self-care is taking care of your mental health, taking care of your physical health. And I think that makes anybody in an emotional demanding job stronger. I think you need to be as a doctor. Like I know I personally I I wonder how you could look at so many of these heartbreaking situations or whatever and really stay strong because you have to.
Yeah, but at my podcast, HumEd, which is human medicine, where we unveil the humanity of medicine, I've learned so much over the last year and a half since I've started the podcast, but one of which is I'm not alone,
Yeah,
and that we all have difficult times as doctors, both personally and professionally, and we're human beings. And so, in any given shift, I'm going to be frustrated, or I may get angry about something, or sad about something. And I express all the human emotions that we all have as humans as a physician. And
for sure.
so that's, I think, part of the normal state of what we do. And it's especially amplified in the emergency department.
And when you're in those emotionally demanding situations and you need to stay strong, how do you separate the way you personally feel and the way you professionally letting emotion get into it?
Yeah, well, sometimes it's important to let emotion get into, and I'll give you two examples. One that I allow emotions to sit with me and share them, and one where I don't.
Yeah,
One where I do is when a child dies,
right.
which is one of the most horrific things anyone can experience, and having to give bad news around that. And I've had a few guests on the show, and I've talked about it
Mm,
with my learners, and I'm okay with expressing emotion and sadness, and even crying in front of families when we're experiencing they're experiencing one of the largest grief experiences of their lives, and I'm witnessing it. I'm a witness to that,
yeah,
and yes, it's important to stay somewhat objective, but it's okay to express emotions. On the other side, there are times when and I talk about this in a future release about my experience taking care of teenagers who come in, who smoke pot and throw up or
mhm,
vomit from that, and that's a condition called hyperemesis from cannabinoid use, and they come back over and over again, and they
mhm,
can't control getting sick. And when I talk to them about drug use,
yeah,
they're in a state of denial. And I get
yeah,
frustrated. And I try to keep my frustrations
right.
hidden to some degree. Maybe I'm not so good at it. I think I am, but I'm
Yeah,
not so sure. But it's frustrating And I'm sure if I were an adult ER physician, which I would never do, but if I was,
Yeah.
I would be more frustrated because in adult emergency medicine, you take care of a lot of people that are doing things to their body that are not okay, including illicit drug use.
100%. I think with, dealing with children, it really comes, you have to have a little bit more of a heart. I think,
Mm.
you have to be a little bit more sensitive. The fact that you actually take steps to improve your personal mental health, I think would really take your reactions to things that you might get frustrated with and not react in the right way. Because reactions are a lot of the emotions the way you're showing it.
Yeah. And I do think that one of the big differences you just named is true, is that there's a lot more love and connection and hope in the pediatric population because we're dealing with children.
Right.
And so that's like one of the beauties and the privileges and honors that I get to experience every day when I go to work.
Why do you think that is, though?
It's interesting because my mother got sick a few years ago and I had to experience adult medicine and it was
Yeah.
yucky.
Yeah,
And
it's not good either. Yeah.
yeah, end of life care is just like
Yeah.
really, and it's rough
Yeah.
and and so I think it's because children are filled with hope and the idea that they're going to live this long and healthy life. And
Yeah.
we're all there to support children and give them the best shot they can to lead a healthy and happy life.
100%. You want to believe, you want to have that hope. And I think as younger people, you want to have hope more than an older person. But I think it really impacts the way, as a doctor, you have to have the sympathy. And again, you have to be so stable. Yes, you have to deal with, yes, you have emotions 100%, but you really have to be you personally have to be a solid foundation to be able to support other people.
Yeah, I think that we're also getting better at taking care of some other colleagues. I serve on a health committee where we deal with a lot of adults who are physicians in the healthcare world. My colleagues, some of which are struggling,
Right.
oftentimes with depression or substance abuse, and and they have to be monitored because ultimately there's a way that we try to police ourselves, not always so successfully, but better than we did decades ago, where we are policing ourselves to make sure that no one around us is at a point where they are at a danger to taking care of kids and especially themselves.
100% because like again, and if you are not stable, that you can I can see it very easily going into substance abuse or depression or in that downward spiral because you have so much demand on you from other sources
Mhm.
as well.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but again, the human side of medicine is that doctors get divorced. In fact, we get divorced at higher rates than the general population. Doctors develop alcoholism and substance
Yeah.
abuse at a higher rate than the general population, including the in my field, which is one of the highest rates of substance abuse in emergency medicine. So we're human beings, and we
Yeah.
need to, have awareness around that.
I think the more demand on, again, if you're not solid, it could break you. And I completely see that. But when it comes to, I'm a trainer. So people say to me all the time, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to work out or prioritize my mental health and stuff. So you're a doctor. What's that excuse all about?
Yeah, there is no excuse.
Yeah.
And in fact, one of the challenges in my field in emergency medicine is there's always junk food and processed food that is hanging around the ED for everyone to have. Literally yesterday was donuts, which
Right.
is like one of the worst things you could have. And it's funny because during the holiday times, there's so much food that comes in the emergency department. People just bring in things from everywhere. And I call it Festivus,
Yeah.
Festivus for the rest of us,
Yeah.
because it's just so much Festivus that's happening around. And the ED is a very quick, like almost like in the trainer view, it's like fast twitch muscles.
Yeah.
We're just moving, moving, moving. And like a lot of anaerobic activity,
Yeah.
jot there, and then you sort of, it's like, oh, there's a donut I haven't eaten. I should probably pop something in, and then it just begets itself. So I tried. I had some. I had a great story to share with your viewership, which is one of the things I get to do is I get to mentor and role
Awesome.
model,
Yeah.
right? And you
Yeah.
do that too as a
Yeah.
trainer,
Of
right? And
course.
trainers are role models.
Of course.
And so what I do is I bring in my food every day because usually the hospital food is not so great.
Yeah.
So, and then all this Festivus. So I usually bring in like a bag lunch or a bag dinner and fruit. And, a lot of people
That's
give me
important.
shit about it, but
Yeah.
it's good. And then I have a new trainee who I'm working with who's studying to become a peds ER physician like me. And she is from the Midwest and she self-proclaimed that she doesn't like healthy food, and she ate processed food all her first year of her fellowship. And she showed up with a little tray the other day of strawberries and yogurt and egg
Yeah.
and hard-boiled egg. And I was like, Darby, what's going on here? And she's like, I'm getting it. And I didn't like my scrubs are feeling a little tighter, and I don't like the way I'm feeling. And I'm a doctor, and I want to feel healthier. And for the last 3 weeks, I've been eating well. And I didn't really say anything other than I gave her a lot of positive reinforcement, which is obviously
Yeah.
very powerful,
Very.
as a
Yeah.
trainer. And actually, I felt really good that I may have an influence on her and the way she is showing up in the world. And again, a lot of nurses and some of my colleagues give me a little bit of grief because I think I eat better than 99% of most Americans. I think I
Yeah.
do, but in
It's
in
important.
reality, it's important to role model. And
Yes.
then it ultimately filters down to your children, to your friends and family. And then I actually think it filters down to your patients because I have a huge number of
100%.
kids that come in, a huge number of kids that come in with constipation.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually spend time with my families in the ER. I don't know them. I've never met them before. They'll never see me again.
Mm-hmm.
And I sit down and I say, listen, if you want this to change, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
And you shop in the outside of the aisle
Yep.
in the supermarket, not on the inside, where there
Yep.
are fruits and vegetables
A
and
hundred
meats and
percent.
fish.
I'm right
And I
there
talk
with you.
about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes they look at me like I have horns coming out of my
Yeah.
head and whatnot. But I feel like that's a fun part of my job. And the Latin root of doctor, by the way, is teacher.
Well, there you go.
So there you go. So part of my job is the huge part of my job is teaching.
But it's not even that. You're a healthcare professional, and technically, healthcare should be about health. And the basic of health is what you consume and put it in your body, and how
Mhm.
your body acts and how your body moves and all that kind of stuff. It really basic breaks it down to take care of yourself. You only have one body. And, I dealt with obesity when I was younger and I lost over 100 pounds. And it was the best change of my life. And it changed, I used to be at the doctor's all the time. And now I go, once a year for my physical and that's it. And it really comes down to move your body, eat well, and again, sleep, like go to sleep. You know, I used to party and like now, I'm in bed by 9 o'clock and I feel great. And I'm up at 5:30 doing my workout. And, I'm trying to be an inspiration to other people. That's the whole point of this podcast is to live your best self and make it as simple as possible, and that's what health should be, simple as possible.
Yeah, I'll tell your viewers what I'm working on right now. You want to hear?
Yeah, sounds good. Let's hear it.
It's my new thing. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I think it's the last vestige of something that I do that's massively unhealthy.
Okay.
And I'm going to show it to your audience, and they're going to think I'm crazy. But here you go. You ready?
Let's see it. Oh, yes. I 100% agree.
So, what I've been doing, because I track my sleep score because I'm crazy and I
Yeah.
have some OCD. And so I've been tracking, I have a sleep system and I wear the Aura ring
Yeah.
and I've got all this data that's coming in the morning. and I'm doing some experimentation with my phone, and I've been putting my phone up at 6, 7 o'clock at night on
Mhm.
the charger in a different place in the bedroom where it's not next to my bed,
Yep.
and I read a book. I have a Kindle.
Yeah.
It is light, but it's very minimal, dark screen, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm reading a book, no access to apps or anything like that.
Yeah.
And my sleep scores the last, couple weeks have just been the highest they've ever
100%.
been. And there's something that is triggered off in my brain where it's not like I have to see this, I have to see that. And it turns out, even as a physician, and even sometimes I'm on call, whatever, there's 99.999% of the time that nothing I look at my phone at 11 o'clock is
100%.
important.
100%.
It's like all BS, nothing,
Yep.
scrolling, junk, dopamine fix, whatever it is, and it's completely effing up my sleep.
Yep.
So I'm pretty convinced that this is something that we all need to be working on in our society.
But you know what? It goes back to we talked about addictions before. Just like, substance abuse, as me, I used to say food was my biggest addiction, and food's accessible everywhere. That's the hardest addiction to really crack because everybody needs to eat. But, this is just as much as an addiction as those two. You add gambling, you add, sex, you add all those kinds of habits that in doses are fine, but when you overdose, it shows differently, not just in a drug overdose, but we're kind of all suckered into this new addiction.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting because my podcast has kind of taken off in the last, uh, I don't know, 8 or 9 months. We've got almost 90,000 YouTube subscribers.
Amazing.
Woohoo. But,
But
as
it's
someone that
important.
loves, well, no, but as someone that loves data, I'm like, we're publishing now an episode once a week and shorts twice a day. And it's just, following the metrics in this crazy world of social media
Yeah,
and podcast land. You can just get kind of obsessed about it, and that needs to have its own balance in life too.
100%. You know what? I think everybody needs to kind of learn control and
Yeah,
in every aspect of their life. But,
absolutely.
before we end, I want to ask you a question. As a doctor with a demanding job, and, we've talked about how you've taken care of yourself to be able to be a strong foundation for others. How would you give people in, emotionally demanding jobs a tip of advice to maybe, who are on the negative downward spiral, maybe to inspire them?
I think it's take it 1 minute, 1 hour, one day at a time, and do something a little bit different every day to make yourself stronger. And it doesn't have to be, people think they need to get from A to Z, but really it's just A to A plus or B or C.
Yep.
And those small incremental steps can actually get you to a better place. I made some huge changes over the last 5 years with sleep and with diet. And now I'm still tweaking it with cell
Yes.
phone stuff. And my other new thing that I do is when I wake up in the morning, I walk outside and I hang out for 20, 30 minutes and
100%.
have sunlight come on to me. And that actually makes me feel good and gives me energy for the day. And so, uh, and I go walking or running almost every single day because it's really important to get outside. So I think that what it is that write a list down of the things how you want to be and what you want to do, and try to do one a week and just make those small incremental changes that ultimately are going to improve the way that you live. And I just want to again say to your listenership that diet and sleep are the core foundations of, and I know you're a trainer, but no disrespect, but
No,
diet and sleep are the core foundations of leading a healthy and happy life.
you know what? I think it's to me, I think it's the perfect combination. And I don't even say exercise. I kind of just say move your body because I say, like, just go for a walk. Keep it simple. It doesn't need to be crazy. You don't need to be crazy working out hard, even as a trainer. I just don't want you sitting on your couch or behind a computer screen, not moving your body at all, because that's when things fail. That's when you don't feel good. And you need a little sunshine to like have a great day and feel a little bit better about yourself. So thank you, doctor, for coming on the podcast and sharing a little bit of your wisdom behind this. And I think it's important for everybody to realize that even doctors are real people and they feel emotion and they need to deal with their mental health and physical health to be able to support others. Because I think that's really important too. They are humans and they have emotions. So, again, thank you so much. And if people want to reach out to you or look into your podcast, where can they find you?
Everywhere. I'm on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, HUMED with David Spiro, MD, and would love to have you as a subscriber or listener. We have a different doctor and or healthcare professional on every week, and we're on Instagram and Facebook as well. And we're just trying to unveil the human side of medicine. It's a fun show.
Well, I appreciate you for coming on this podcast and sharing a little bit of your insight. And again, please reach out if you guys are interested in human podcast. Again, the human side of medicine is real. And I think it's more important to people to explore. So thank you so much for listening. And until next time, keep showing up, keep growing. And remember, whether you are 5 feet tall or 7 feet tall, we are all strong in our own unique and beautiful ways. Have a great day and stay strong.